Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our audio got deleted. This sucks. My name is Jay.
And I'm Vilnius. The sad truth is that we were going to bring you another incredible guest episode featuring
And it
the
was
one
so
and only
good.
Colin. It was a
It was
good
a good
episode,
episode. We had a
but
fun time.
sadly, due to Craig being awful and never working,
We should kill him now.
yeah, definitely execute Craig.
Definitely.
Public execution. That seems like the way to go.
Kafka-esque, please. Let's have him starve himself. Let's make him a hunger artist. Except he's not an artist, and we're forcing him to do
literary reference.
I hate Franz Kafka with a burning passion.
I liked what we read of him.
Metamorphosis
a couple years back. It was really creepy, but I mean, it was intended to be.
It was intended to be. Kafkaesque. Our English teacher, every time she brings up Kafka, says, "Sorry, Jay." I'm like, "Yep." I had a conversation with her, like, I don't know, it must have been like a month ago now, where I was like, or whenever we were doing the story thing, I was like, I can't with Kafka. It's too much for me.
He's pretty effective with coming up with some disturbing tales.
Well, now we all know what they're talking about when they talk about all those funky Eastern Europeans.
Funky Eastern Europeans.
You know, they say that all the time. Hey, man, you're looking like a funky Eastern European today. Oh, thanks. I look like Franz Kafka. No kidding. So, Vilnius, tell me, what have you gotten up to in this past week?
I have not been doing much. Let's see what happened. We swapped out presidents. That happened.
Oh yeah, the little swap that happened. The little one. It's a couple days ago.
Yeah. The DJ decided not to go.
Yeah, man.
Not DJ, DT. Why did I call him
DJ? Oh, because J is his middle initial.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, he went. Bull went down
J. Trump.
Bull went down to Mar-a-Lago. He wanted to go golfing or something. I don't know.
Personal life. Just been doing schoolwork. Watched a movie. Not much else though. Pretty standard week for Vilnius.
Pretty standard week. Vilnius has a lot of standard weeks these days, or maybe all the time, and I just didn't know.
My life is not the most interesting.
Yeah, no, mine isn't either. I just talk a lot.
Well, I don't know. I'm interested in hearing at the very least, Jay.
No, but Vilnius, there's a reason that I ask you first, and the reason for that being is if you asked me first, you would never get to talk about your week.
Oh.
At least that's what it seems.
Going on from that, how's your week been, Jay?
Personally, I watched Bunny Girl Senpai. I started another anime we'll talk about later that you recommended to me. Also really cute, and I got into another school this week.
Nice.
Yeah. The circle has come to a close. We talked about a week or two into December how I applied to Pitt, and now
of course
I have applied to Pitt. Oh, I've gotten into Pitt now.
Yes. I have also been accepted to Pitt.
Good job, Vilnius.
Which is exciting. That's one that's higher up on my list for me.
It's a great school, and that campus is
very nice.
Incredible. It's like
the cathedral of learning.
The cathedral of learning. Man, where do you find a 30-story tall skyscraper on your college campus? Pitt.
Yeah,
that's the only place.
Second tallest educational building in the world.
I don't remember what the first was. Probably in China.
First one is in Moscow. They built it out of spite for the U.S.
Well, yeah, it was built in the Roaring 20s, wasn't it? The Cathedral of Learning.
I think so.
They were rich, and then Russia was like, "Suka bliet."
Yeah, that's all the Russians say.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really heard much else from the Russians. Have you?
That's it. No.
I mean, the only thing I know.
Words.
Yeah. The only other thing I know from there is like Latvia, where they say, "When the fight, take the car out front." But I don't.
Yeah. Latvia, my favorite part of Russia.
Yeah. Vilnius will know all about being Russian, so Vilnius. I know in my week I mentioned Bunny Girl Senpai, or What is the long name? What is it?
I don't know.
Ra-
I didn't watch the show.
Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. It's a show that I wanted to discuss a little bit because it was very interesting, and really weird.
Yeah.
I had a certain lack of appreciation for it for some reason or another until I looked into it a little bit more, watched a couple videos that described it a little more to me, and now I understand. Okay, now I understand why it
Uh,
was so great.
you seem to have 180'd on
I
your previous
well
thoughts
well
completely then.
yes, okay, this is true. Yes, during this forgotten episode, we spoke with Colin, who also watched it. I was finished episode 11. Okay, let me start a little bit from the beginning to give context rather. Bunny Girl Senpai, or Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, is a show that basically starts with a guy named Sakuta Azusagawa from, like, I guess Tokyo. I don't know. He's at the library one day and he sees this girl who he knows to be somebody in the grade above him, you know, dressed in a bunny suit, walking around uh, in front of people, and nobody can see her except him. And her name is Mei Sakurajima, and she is like a famous child actress, but nobody can see her anymore. Which is obviously a strange premise to begin with. Um, Now, the premise of the show surrounds adolescent syndrome or puberty syndrome, which is unnatural, supernatural events happening during your teenage years due to instability and sensitivity, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is like a really like that's a pretty polarizing subject, in my opinion. But regardless, during the 13 episode run, there is a series of 5 arcs regarding 5 characters. That being Kaide, which is Sakuta, the main character's little sister, Futaba, who's like this science uh, guru, I guess, at school, who's in Sakuta's year. Oh my god, Nodoka, which is Mai Sakurajima's half sister, Mai herself, and Shoko, I can't remember her last name for some reason, who is this girl that Sakuta once met on the beach when Kaide, his sister, was befallen with like long term amnesia. It's confusing and it's not really that easy to put into simple terms, I suppose. Without watching it,
Perhaps.
yeah, the show gives a lot more context. Um,
Yeah, I remember in the last episode, you and Colin both brought up how it kind of became confusing at points with the amount of stuff going on.
yeah, so for some reason I didn't really realize that they were going for arcs. So that became really confusing when
Do you mean like character arcs or like narrative arcs?
well, no, narrative arcs, I'd say. Some characters had arcs more so than others. I mean, to be honest, Sakta and Mai were the only ones who had like legitimate character arcs. But the narrative arc surrounded around these 5 girls, or I guess you could call them, if you want to dumb it down, love interests. Except, don't forget the rules. Kaide is his sister. That's a little messed up. But all right, that's how I've heard it referred
Don't
to.
forget the rules!
That was um yeah, that's
It
that's
is
only a
true though.
that's only a love
Don't bang
interest
your
if you're a little
sister.
that's only a love interest if you're a little wrong in the head. Though I must say there's this one scene where she always like comes in the middle of the night to sleep in his bed because she's like cold or whatever.
A bit odd, a bit suspicious.
I mean, I guess if they were younger that would make sense, like, but yes, he is like a second year in high school and she's like whatever you're in middle school. I don't know. Is it 3 years in middle school and 3 years in high school in Japan? I can't figure it out.
I don't know.
I know it's 3 years of high school, but I don't know what middle school is. I think it's three as well. Regardless, this one time he wakes up and he's like, you don't have to like sleep in my bed. You have your own bed. And she goes, "What? Are you afraid of forbidden love?" And from there, I was like, "Oh, okay. Wait, wh- something's not right here." But that's all right. Regardless, yeah.
Yeah.
listen. No. Okay. So it goes through 5 arcs, right? Mai's invisibility, where because she took a break from showbiz, she literally fades out of the public eye. It's like a strange take on it, um,
I see.
but very cool. Oh, I forgot Koga too. There are actually 6 character arcs. So then there's Koga's character arc. She is what they call Laplace's demon. She has the ability to time loop something, and basically what she does is she plays the future ahead so that she knows how to deal with things. Uh, and so
That's
when
kind of
she
neat.
gets a favorable outcome, the time loop is broken. Um, s- it's
Ah.
really like mind bendy.
Hmm.
So
So
Sakata
is the
gets, oh yeah.
show like episodic, where it takes each character and it sort of breaks down their story each episode? Then,
No, not really. It's really strange
okay.
actually.
So does the time loop happen more than once then, or is that
It
just a one time
happens
thing?
more than once in like 2 or 3
Okay. Okay.
episodes during the Koga arc. Um
Okay.
Now I found it very interesting though that it was the arcs were really short. Like so the Mai Sakura the Sakurama the what the hell am I saying? Sakurama Sakurajima was the first 3 episodes, alright? Um, and
Mm-hmm.
then the 3 episodes after that were Koga, who is the Laplace's demon. The 2 episodes after that were Futaba, who had a different opinion on the guy she liked, and physically split into 2 copies of herself. One that valued asking him out and telling her feelings more, and the other who didn't. It was so strange. Um,
That's wild.
yeah,
Seem to have some fun concepts here.
yeah. And then there's 9 and 10, which regarded Nodoka, which is Mei Sakurajima's half sister. She was always jealous of Mei because Mei was always like the golden person in the family, and they got into an argument, and then in the morning they switched bodies. Um,
Odd. That's a
yeah,
bit strange. I hate body swap.
and her
Also, body
amnesia.
swap. Just a slight comment is just a small comment. It's just probably my least favorite genre.
It was pretty painless though.
I just find body swap just as a concept would be incredibly uncomfortable. And even if it like plays into a grander narrative or has its own sort of emotional purpose other than just haha funny, you're in a different body now. I just cannot stand them.
Yeah, it did not have that purpose of being comedic. I mean the show is funny in some places, mainly because
Hmm.
Sakta is super quick witted. He says some very funny, quippy things that made me laugh for sure. Very dry, but in general, the show is serious. You can tell just by the animation style. It's a lot more rugged, less rounded than you would see other shows, and there's a lot less hyperbolic emotion, which I think is a big theme in less serious shows. Um,
Yeah,
it's kind of
anime
like
known
a
for being very expressive.
exactly the only thing I could compare it to is like a Frank's, right? Like that's the only thing I know personally
The
right now.
Frank.
Yes, Frank, dude, that guy, he's just like this show. Um,
Shout out to
Shout
Frank.
out to Frank.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, I've been talking about this for a long time, but I'll get to what I think about it. I thought it was going to be a love story. It was not at all. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
don't go to the show looking for a love story. Go to it looking for a really good representation of adolescent experiences. I think is and relationships, dude. It's actually it falls into a similar theme as Darling in the Franks, which largely revolves around relationship. Actually, yeah, I mean this is exactly in the same vein. Uh, I guess well, not exactly, but to some extent, where character relationships drive the story, and mending those
Mm-hmm.
character relationships is the only way you can really move forward. Franks didn't have so much of a strong, theme of having to mend it. But this show is, you know, BGS is purely run on you have to solve the problem in order to do anything more. Um, and you can see that through Sakata, who is very, very determined to make sure that each of his friends is able to live and his sister are able to live the most normal life possible.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty nutty, dude. Um,
Indeed. I remember in the last episode, you said that you would have given the show a 6 out of 10, but after thinking about it, you seem to have greatly improved your opinion of it. Has there been any change in that scoring?
well, so when I originally wrote it down on my spreadsheet here that I keep my shows I've watched, um,
Yeah?
that was
You
number
should make a
5.
Mal page.
A who?
A Mal page.
Yeah, I
A My
have one.
Anime List
I
page. Oh,
have
you
one,
do have a Mal
and
page.
I wrote a One Punch review, and then I looked at the other reviews. I'm like, I can't do this shit. They put way too much effort into these.
Send
Um,
me the review, man.
I'll send you the review. Yes, we can even put it in the show notes. Yeah, I do
Whoa!
have a My Anime List thing.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Mal. I like to catalog things and then look at them and say, oh, I remember reading this. Oh, what are the. I don't write reviews for them, but I often will write little tags of my brief thoughts on them. Just like a handful of words.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm also like kind of keeping it up to date. Uh, like with what episodes I've finished and stuff. So right now
Hmm.
on Mal, I have it at a 7. Um,
Nice. Seven's pretty good.
I rate everything pretty generously, apparently. See, the problem is I don't have a good basis for this, man. Like, I rated Frank's a 9. Like, I think if that, maybe I just make that, see, this is one of my favorite shows I've ever watched. I know it's like up in the air for a lot of people. Or a lot, actually, not up in the air. A lot of people just hate it. Uh, the reviews are very, very different. Lots of tens, nines, and eights, and lots of zero ones and twos.
Yeah, when you come to these sites, Jay, uh, the reviews, there's very few I find that are actually like middling reviews. Normally, what you'll see are just people that either go 10 or 1.
Yeah, I mean, see, there are.
Like, going out of your way to write a review for a show that you just thought was okay, or you thought was, you know, not the best. And typically, people aren't going to put the effort into that, but for the shows they really love and despise, a lot of people will go out for that. So reviews often have strong opinions.
Yeah, I think you know what I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Frank's at a 10, and that'll give me a
Go
little
ahead.
that'll give me a little more room because I was considering doing that because like I wasn't sure because I didn't want to be too forgiving because like I don't like the ending, but like the thing that it left me at the like what the feeling that it gave me at the end of the show was a lot more rewarding than just oh the ending was meh. Like people were so pissed off after 3 episodes. Like people dropped it after 3 episodes. You didn't even get to the part people complain about. I don't know. I feel
I
like
don't
you gotta
know. I
encompass
am I
everything.
am very willing to drop things early on. I
I
find that with so much art in the world, even if a show might tend or might at some point become really good, is it really worth your time to go all the way in when there's something right around the corner that might be just as exciting but from the very start?
I in my opinion, dude, like the only show on this list where the first episode I was like, "Holy hell, this is fantastic. I'm going to love this." was One Punch Man.
Hmm.
I watched
I
uh,
mean, I agree. There are plenty of things that I love that I have been either not as happy with or sort of middling on at the beginning.
yeah.
I tend to give something at least a little bit of a shot before I drop it, but I mean, I don't know. It's understandable. There's
See,
plenty of times I've dropped a thing in just an episode or a chapter.
I oftentimes feel myself taking in what I elaborated to Doof as heart hurt, which is a horrible term. But let's be realistic, is how much it makes my heart ache and how much it makes my mind boggle is generally a
Mm.
good scale for how good a show is. So Darling in the Franks, I was pretty sad for about 3 weeks. Um, just straight up, like, like no cap, 3 weeks. Um, and obviously, I have moved on, but shows like that are not sad, just like in thought, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But like
I know
constantly,
the feeling.
like 3 weeks later, this was on my mind. Like I was, it's weird. That's never happened to me before with a show.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong emotional connection there.
As Doris Day says, "Que sera, sera." Yeah. Anyway,
So I have also watched a bit of anime recently. I watched a movie called Galaxy Express 39, which is a rather corny title, and the movie kind of matches that corniness. It's a 70s sci-fi anime, and I quite enjoyed it. As I said, there's a lot of really corny moments, and it's definitely a children's movie with a lot of, kind of annoying coincidences and plot points that seem rather meaningless in the grand scheme of things. Uh, but like visually, I loved it. The character designs were a bit outdated, but certain ones like Maytel and Claire I thought were really cool. The backgrounds all are beautifully painted, and the planets they visit, there's some really cool concepts that they can really bring out to life. Like they go to Pluto at one point. Pluto's really cool. But the movie is just a fantastic experience. It's very long. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long, but there's never a moment where I was bored with it. uh, Another thing, the music, absolutely phenomenal. I can still remember a good number of those tracks, even after watching it like a week ago.
that's impressive right there. See, when the soundtrack really gets ingrained in your head,
Mm-hmm.
dude,
Yeah. It was a very
that's a
impressive
good sign.
film. Uh, The movie is part of a bigger, extended universe of things that I do not think I will get into. For instance, I believe like the original beginning of this universe is through the Captain Harlock series, and he's brought into the movie as well as several other major characters from this. But I had never watched any of it, and it's not required to have. The story is focused on new
Oh, I
characters
see.
who just happen to interact with the older ones. Um, I don't think I will get into any of those shows, but
Hmm.
it was interesting to see how they integrated these characters and like tried to make them still cool and have their big cameo without taking up too much of the narrative. Although it became a bit annoying when it was like they tried to connect them all and have them all in the biggest moments when it felt a bit undeserved for them to take the spotlight. But I'm sure to someone who was a fan of these series, it was probably the hypest shit in the world. But yeah, good time. Highly
Yo,
recommended.
Captain Harlock.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I'm so excited to see you, Captain. That's probably what they said. I can't even
Yes,
imagine
yes, of
in
course, of course.
1979 in the movie theater. Oh my god.
Have you
Yo.
seen? I recently saw on YouTube this video of like it was the first showing of the I think second Star Wars movie where Darth Vader reveals that he's Luke's dad and the audience reaction to it,
No,
and
I
it's
haven't
like
seen that.
it's really cool to just see like the shock in the audience to
Yo,
like
that's so
the
funny.
most famous moment in cinema history is really cool.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
link that
cool.
in the show
Yeah,
notes
yeah, yeah.
if I can find it again.
So, this movie sounds really interesting. And just mention the name again, for
It is
anybody.
Galaxy Express 39. That's how it's pronounced. It's spelled as Galaxy Express 999.
Nice, because I always, when they're talking about something on a podcast, I always forget what it is by the end of the segment.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It was very annoying. Scroll back, have to hear it said at the beginning again.
precisely. And the worst part is there's no timestamps and there's no visuals. So, haha,
Yeah.
haha, get wrecked. Have fun with that. Um, well, last thing I want to touch on a little bit. Villainous, you recommended me a wonderful little show.
Yes.
Called
I was reminded of this show, and I thought it was very much up your alley.
absolutely was. It's called Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. It's about a guy named Nozaki who is a shoujo manga artist. And
Mm-hmm.
is and is considered to be the voice for girls' emotions,
Yeah.
which is just
Yeah, and
it's
yeah, it goes against the kind of person he seems to be to a lot of people. He's kind of bad at expressing himself, and he's a very tall and burly fellow. He seems to be the tough guy, kind of.
he's six foot
So,
two and he's extremely just stone faced, stoic, uh, and he meets oh my god, what is her name? Is it? I think it's Sakura. Um,
yes.
and she is a peppy first year. What is he? He's a second year guy, I think. She's like
They're in
a.
the same class,
Oh, they are.
I think, if I remember correctly. It's been a while
Well,
since
actually,
I.
I don't know that they say whether they're in the same class or not, because all we know to preface it is that she has a crush on him.
I believe they are shown as being in the same class later in the story.
Oh, I see.
It's
Yeah,
been a while since I read this.
yeah.
I watched a bit of it as well.
Yeah, I'm only a little bit in here. I'm 5 episodes deep. Um, but dude, it's a really cute show. It's like it is exactly up my alley, like you said. Um, it's
I'm glad that it is to your taste. I wasn't sure if it would be as fitting as I thought it would. Uh, but yes, it's just one of those shows that's very cute and wholesome, and I don't know, instills positive emotions within you.
exactly. Yeah, it's really fun to watch and actually just I watched an episode right before we recorded and Nozaki was trying to role play basically as one of his characters to better understand how she would feel in certain situations. And he sees Sakura
Hmm.
and realizes what it's like to be the character he's trying to role play as in her love story. And I was like, no, it finally happened. I'm only a couple episodes in, but I was waiting, dude. I'm, I was waiting for them to fall in love with each other or whatever. And it's
Hmm.
finally my dreams are coming
Well,
true, Vilnius.
I hate to break it to you, Jay, but I
No,
think
don't
you have.
break anything to me. It's okay.
Uh,
I may be
okay.
absolutely wrong. I don't really care though. I can hope Vilnius. But knowing Nozaki is gonna be some really different shit. Like he's gonna be like, "Oh, I get it now. I am don't have any emotions." So
He's very focused on his work, and while he certainly cares about those around him, he's far less interested in mingling with them and you know exploring his emotions. But yeah, I read that a few years back, and I remember quite enjoying it. But yeah, hopefully it turns out to be a positive experience for you, Jay.
I hope so too, Vilnius.
And we hope that this podcast has been an enjoyable experience for you guys listening.
Do we? Yes, I mean we
Uh,
do. We hope you had a good time. Um, we
yeah.
never ever try and make a bad episode. Uh,
No, we've never even made a bad episode. None of these episodes have been bad.
especially
No,
not the
no.
best episode because that was the best episode,
By far, by
as we
far, by far.
constantly say.
And with that, we will bid you
Adieu.
adieu.
Adios, mon ami. Adios.
Goodbye.
Adieu, mon ami. Bye.
Fun fact about the recording of this episode, Discord wasn't working for me, so we recorded these while talking to each other over the phone, which is why you can hear Jay echoing. Sorry about that. I was too close to the mic. Anyhow, goodbye.